Multiply those times or by the extended families and friends of all these people, and you've got some people in Kalamazoo with some serious issues, we'll put it that way. Veronica Sites is a traumatic grief counselor who frequently works with Homeland Security in the days following a crisis. She helped to notify families about deaths during Hurricane Katrina, the Moore, Oklahoma tornado, and the Texas fertilizer plant explosion. And she joins us now. Veronica, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
What's the most common symptom in a case like this that lets you, as a trained professional, know that there's something serious going on inside an individual?
Sleeplessness is one of the earliest onsets and indicators. Just an inability to go to sleep or stay asleep.
And how can you, as a counselor, is it basically that you let them know that you understand that, or do you have other techniques to help them cope with it?
No, what we normally do is we establish the fact that when the traumatic event, whatever it is, has taken place, normal changed, and that interruption to normal was unwelcome. However, there are things they can expect that are commonplace or normal for a traumatic event, and we inform the individual directly impacted, but we also inform and educate their caregivers or their immediate family members, friends, of what to watch for.
And what are some of the things you ask them to watch for?
We ask them to watch for changing in eating habits, whether eating more, just to calm nerves, not eating, not hungry, because the loss of appetite can often be just an indication of how the body is reacting to the stress that it's either suppressing or trying to make sense of. So it's gut wrenching. There's literally that terminology is attached to the physiological component of the stomach. I mean, it's hard to eat.
Now, we're talking with Veronica Sites. She's a traumatic grief counselor, and she works with Homeland Security a lot in the days following incidents like this. Go ahead, Veronica. I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
No. I was just going to say, those are some of the things that are easy for other people to spot. The sleepless restlessness, sometimes just not being able to get comfortable, fidgety, just not being able to focus on anything, just antsy, sit down for a little while because, they're tired, but then they sit down and they want to get up and they just can't find something to focus on, or observe behaviors that other people can tell. Now, the person that's experiencing it is not as aware of it because there are three components once we go into a stressful situation. There's fright, flight, or fawn. I mean, people that are fearful can react in any manner of ways. They can go into shock and, be inactive. They're just trying to take in what's happened, and then therefore they don't think through the process. There's the flight. They avoid it, they deny it, they suppress it, they push it down, deny that it has any impact on them, and therefore, don't take any steps or measures to seek the possibility that what they're experiencing for the circumstances is normal.
How common is turning to drugs or alcohol in situations like this?
Very common. Self-medication is a high-risk factor. That's another thing that we do indicate to family members. We ask, is there history, behavior, or any indication that this is a behavior that would increase? Watch for those kinds of things. If, you've got somebody that, say, has been sober for many, many years and they are an alcoholic, well, these are high-stress indicators, are very susceptible times to turn to that as a coping mechanism. So those are times to really watch, be aware, be vigilant as a family member. But there again, it's also the individual needs to recognize it is normal to want to stop the pain. When normal is interrupted in an unwelcome manner, there's pain involved, and shock is masking that. It's just it's the manifestation of behavior that you might see with turning to drugs or turning to alcohol or, even promiscuity for that matter. I mean, just to have a sense of feeling safe.
Last question. What should faraway relatives and friends say or not say when they contact people they know have been involved?
Do not say that you know how they feel. It's just, it's impossible, even though somebody may have been through a similar situation. You can say, I am aware because of a similar circumstance that you may be feeling these ways. And if you need someone to connect with, if it's not you and your family member and you know someone that may have similar circumstances, by all means, make sure that the person that you're going to refer them to is further along in health and stability as far as being a resource for your loved one to turn to, because you always want to connect them with somebody that's on more stable ground and not only offers the hope, but is the living testimony that says, I have experienced similar circumstances, and I'm here to show and tell you that if you'll take one step at a time, seek the help, it's okay, you're human, and there is another side to it, but you have to take one step and one day at a time.
Well, Veronica Sites, now that we are very much aware that post-traumatic stress disorder is very real and very prevalent, we're awfully glad that people like you are on the team reaching out to these folks who so desperately need the help. And we thank you so much for being with us today. We may contact you again.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
That's Veronica Sites, a traumatic grief counselor. And boy, if people ever needed it, it's the folks out there in Orlando. And I guess from all around the country, because you know how the extended families reach out like spider webs, really. And it's amazing how many people one person will influence and get in contact with.